right. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining this presentation. I'm Raquel Ribeiro, and this is going to be a moment for all of us teachers, educators, coordinators, teacher trainers, to take a look at the possibilities of generative AI integrated into a classroom practice. I'd like to invite you at first to type in the chat where you are following and watching this presentation from, okay? So I'd appreciate checking from which part of the world we are following and the colleagues, and this is so interesting. Thank you again for being here. The idea of this session is that we try out a few things from two perspectives. The perspective of the teacher when we are planning our lessons and planning our classes, but also the perspective of our students. And for that, I invite you, if it is possible, of course, to have your mobile ready, because there will be a few things you can try here, or maybe you can try in your laptop as well. But always consider the context that you are teaching. So if you're teaching online, remotely, or if you are teaching a class in person, if there's like equipment available at your school, or maybe if you need to agree with the learners, with your group of students one day, so that they can use the mobile during one specific class, all right? By the way, it's a good idea if you can share in the chat your context. So what is your English language teaching context? Is it remote, online? Is it in person? Okay, tell us a little bit about it. Very well. The most popular generative AI tools nowadays that are very, very popular, they are the ones I have just presented here. So do you recognize the symbols each one represent? Which is the most current one? Which was the first one to be used? You can interact in the chat. It is right. We've got ChatGPT, the very first one, then Gemini, this evolution, if you consider that used to be called BART, that's Copilot, and that's DeepSeek, the newest one. There are other generative AI tools. Can you remember another one I haven't mentioned here? Just share this in the chat, and if you have the link as well, okay? This is a good moment for all of us to get to try out all the possibilities as well. Well, the idea of human-centered approach of this session, I have selected some topics for us to focus on, because this is going to be the very essence of the session here. It is human-centered because it is an interaction between us teachers to guide our learners. So this is the main, we are the main actors in the play. And the technology, whether you're using that in a laptop or if it's a mobile phone or a tablet, what you have available, it is one part of this learning journey, because that is the whole point of using technology as a means through this journey of learning a foreign language. And I have been using the UNESCO guidance, and I'd like to highlight these points for all of us. One key thing, the use of AI should enhance the human capabilities. So if we consider the critical thinking, vocabulary expansion, because we are learning another language, yeah, it is a human-machine collaboration. Another point, we as teachers, we need to develop and we need to improve our competencies to understand how is it that I can use AI, this artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence, to teach behind the scenes during my class preparation? How is it that I can integrate it to the learning moment in class with my students, probably working in smaller groups, maybe working individually online? And of course, our very own professional development, because the way we have been using and the possibilities available currently are not the same from 2 years ago. It is very important to consider, and if you are a coordinator, if you are a head teacher or a teacher trainer, this part of developing AI competencies for the team that you are leading. Somehow, when we deliver our sessions, we also develop the digital citizenship for the group of teachers and for our learners. Somehow it's intertwined. And then the key characteristics to observe, it emulates these human capabilities, that there is a wide-ranging capacity for information processing, and seems to be really great. It generates content, and it depends. It is a response to a prompt. So a prompt is the instructions given to the artificial intelligence. Here, there are two very important guidance here from UNESCO. I'm going to share this in the chat for us. So one is this guidance for generative AI, education research on mostly general terms, and then the AI competency framework for teachers. This is really recent from the most recent Digital Learning Week in 2024, and I'll be sharing this link with you. There's also a guidance for students. We need to have caution when using, because this is not like, oh, everything is going to be such an amazing journey. No, we need to be aware. So the first thing, it does not understand what it is generating. So it's not sentient. The critical approach, contrasting, depending on the prompt, and you're going to have an output. So prompt, the instructions given, and the output, what results, and everything depends on the type of activity you have in mind for your learners and how that connects to the lesson you are teaching. Critical approach, because we need to double check things. And of course, beware, because it might produce false information. For instance, remember, I was showing you some examples. This is Copilot. And the first message here in Copilot, which is one of the available AI, it says Copilot may make mistakes, and this goes throughout all the possibilities, ChatGPT and Gemini. It's very important to be aware. Very well. If you have this possibility, you can scan the QR code, and this is going to lead you to a simpler way to visualize the AI competency for teachers. So you get your phone and just, point your camera here. And this is going to take you to a simple kind of handout. I don't know if you can visualize properly here, but it's also going to be in the link for us. When we are working with generative AI, nowadays, if you start speaking a native language, it's going to follow through in that language, but it depends on the device you've got. So one important move, and this is important to share with your learners as well, it's an important hint. Add English as the second language in general management language, it is helpful because then things can happen much faster way. Let's go and design some communicative tasks. Remember, I asked some of you to tell us whether you teach in-person classes or online remote classes. And there are possibilities for both approaches. We are starting with in-person classes right now. This is a prompt that can be created and can be shared throughout any social media, any generative AI site, okay? So the idea is we are going to use instructions, and my objective here right now is to have my learners practice and experience a little bit of rehearsing for a language exam. So adults and teenagers, they have to go through the process. And this is one example. How does that go? We get this prompt, and you realize this is a very elaborate prompt. And as you get it, you are going to realize that this prompt here directs to very specific questions to be asked. Questions are simple, they are intermediate level questions. And I request a few things from the artificial intelligence. So one of the things is to ask me the questions one at a time, comment after the reply. How does this work? Let's see an example now. And I'm going to also show you a video of a student actually interacting with AI in an in-person class. What I do so this process goes much faster, I share the prompt with them using Google Classroom, but it could be any mail or something that the students can easily access and copy the content. And let's see how that goes.
Sounds fun. Let's act out this part of the exam. I'll ask you the questions and listen carefully to your answers. Remember, there are no wrong answers here.
A comment before it goes. It's very interesting how it is interacting, and it's surprising if a person has not used generative AI before. There are no right answers. Somehow it is telling the student, look, and encouraging to be spontaneous and to try.
I just want to hear about your preferences and thoughts. All right, first question.
Then it goes. All right, first question.
What do you do when you want to relax? Why?
When I want to relax, I talk with my friends. They are so cool.
While the student is interacting, this is Gemini, they can visualize everything that the generative AI is speaking. So from the perspective of learning, that's training. And then, of course, there's the microphone and then permission to use the microphone. You could see that. And then the student just answers the question and gets to see what is being understood by the generative AI. Remember, I told you before that it's important to add English as a second language to the general management of the phone. It's going to be helpful here, okay?
That sounds like a great way to unwind.
Then there's learner training involved. Once the answer is ready, they have just to hit send. And I teach them, this is a learner training. I reinforce it's important so they can not only read, but also listen and to the comments afterwards.
Right. Spending time with friends can be a lot of fun and a good way to distress.
Spending time with friends and goes on. It is just the output is completely connected to the prompt. Yeah, it's commenting the language being used here. It's for an intermediate B1 level student.
Is there anything specific you enjoy doing with them that helps you relax? Sure, let's get started.
And then I'm showing the same questions, but now a student who opted for using ChatGPT.
One, what do you do when you want to relax?
When I want to relax, I read some books and play some music.
That sounds like
It is important to understand that you will choose, okay, am I going to use Copilot? Am I going to use Gemini, ChatGPT? It depends on how it goes. But make sure you choose the one that gives you this possibility of listening to what was said or to what is being spoken. This is an in-person class. One of the prompts, right? I'd like you to try. How about we give it a try in our phones? How does that go? If it is possible for you, you could either open, for instance, Gemini and type this question, or, which I think is more practical, scan the QR code. Once you scan this QR code, it is going to take you to a kind of a thread for conversation that's ready here. Okay, so this is what you're going to visualize. Then I will click, I don't have to type everything, that's why it's much easier. Then it will probably appear something like, continue this chat, and you should click continue this chat. That's how it looks. The question is here, so I need to answer, to reply. I'd like to invite each one of you who is following this talk here, this session, see if you can do that on your phone. Let's, for a moment, imagine you are the students in class. How would you answer this question as an intermediate level student? I'm going to try here live, okay? Let's see if that goes, how it goes. All right, so the question is here. Well, when I want to relax, I watch TV series, and sometimes I listen to music or go for a walk. Hit send. And then there's a reply, which is the comment. I have to tell my student to click and listen to that. There is a symbol, like sound on symbol, to click. It takes a while, but then it is going to read the comment, the reply. Okay, so it's still like loading, and this is very much part of what happens in real interaction, okay? One thing while this is still loading, let me see if I can have that also here on the screen so you can visualize, yeah? All right, I can. So while this is still...
That's a good range range of relaxing activities.
It's working.
Watching TV series and listening to music are popular ways to unwind. For a walk is excellent for both physical and mental relaxation. It seems you have a good balance of passive and active relaxation methods. Now, for the next question. Question 2. Do you prefer to relax with friends or alone?
And it
Why?
keeps asking me the question. I can do that here with you as well. Let's try. Now I'm on the computer screen. And well, when I want to relax, I listen to music, and sometimes I call my friends. You see here, it doesn't really get to understand a lot, probably because I have many things. When I want to relax, I usually listen to music. I have 2 streamings here, so it possibly won't work. But I think you get the idea, right? It works better here. And if you are on a computer and that's the only source of sound, this is going to work as well. Going ahead with another suggestion of using generative AI, this time when students have to talk about something in the lesson that they haven't got enough knowledge, that they need to find out more possibilities. This is connected with expanding the vocabulary, but this is also connected with critical thinking, because we need to teach them, look, you don't have to accept everything suggested by the generative AI. It's really okay, get the ideas, double check in trustworthy sources, and see what is it that you agree with. What is it that you are not so sure, or that maybe you disagree? You cannot actually visualize, like read what's written, but here I've got students sharing what they have selected from the search. How does that go? Let's look at this now.
Hi, what do you think will happen in the future of education in terms of English language learning?
Well, here it's ChatGPT, and the other student is just holding the phone that has the prompt they need to ask. They are working as a pair. They are younger, so they're a bit shy, and they had to rehearse before actually asking the question. So you can see there are other levels of what we are developing here in terms of collaboration, pronunciation, intonation, trying again. Once they ask the question, then play to listen.
The future of English language learning and education is likely to see significant advancements and changes due to several key trends and technologies. Technology integration, the use of AI-powered tools, virtual reality (VR), and augmented reality (AR).
I'm stopping here for a while to make a few comments. It's important to let them know, listen, pay attention. If it's a pair or if it's a trio, somebody else, maybe they can pause and take notes of words they are not so sure, or a different way to express what they think, or the topics being mentioned so that they can react later on.
Will become more prevalent, providing immersive and interactive language learning experiences. These technologies can simulate real-life environments for practical language use and improve engagement and retention. 2. Personalized learning, adaptive learning platform.
So when they actually have to exchange idea on a theme, after this step of preparation, which involves using a prompt that the teacher has prepared beforehand, so this is going to be a faster step, then getting to select what is it that I agree with? What is it that I'm not so sure? Maybe I have strong feelings about. So when you change pairs and they have to exchange ideas, they have what to say. This is one step. Everything that I'm presenting here, just to make it very clear, should be integrated to the course book, to the lesson plan, as one part. As if, remember when we used to, or maybe we still do sometimes, have like flashcards or a moment to check information on a certain page or watch a short video. So it was just something else as source of information, source of interaction. I'd like to invite you now to give it a try with the same question, with the same prompt instructions for the artificial intelligence. So here, there's a question, and if you want to, you can scan, and this is going to lead you to a note. This time is not a site. This is going to open like a block of note with the prompt here. The same prompt you can see. Hi, what do you think? It's the same prompt. If it's possible for you to open this, I'd like you to select, everything, select all. And then once you select it, then you click copy. So it's on your clipboard. We are going to try, how about we try this on Copilot or on ChatGPT? How about that? I can open here, for instance, ChatGPT. Let's give it a try. It is possible to have a voice interaction, or it is possible if you consider that only type, okay? And while you are still getting ready here, if you get to log in the site, you are going to have the important features to use, rather than if you are just using these anonymously. There are less possibilities in terms of features. So for example, if you consider the voice response, for example. So very well, I have logged in, and I would like to have this question, right? So I'm going here, suppose I didn't have time to type, okay? And then the question, what do you think will happen in the future? See, it takes a longer time, so that's why scanning something, copy and paste will go faster. Yes, in the future of education, in terms of English language learning. But I'm demonstrating here because it's not the end of the world if you actually have to type the prompt. Okay, let's try. Then you've got lots of things coming along, see? And tell them to keep following. There is an emoji here, see? And then I recommend click to actually listen. When it comes to ChatGPT, if you interrupt, then it starts all over again. See? I'd like to call your attention to the fact that I started by kind of greeting, hi, and it kind of replicates, hi. Yes, it's interesting. Let's see how it goes. If I'm using Copilot, for example, let me give it a try here. If it doesn't work, I'm copying the prompt anyways, right? But I'd like to try things slightly different with Copilot. There's a kind of a mic here. See, talk to Copilot. Hi, what do you think? What do you think will happen in the future of education in terms of English language learning? Thank you. That's very insightful. As you close, you have a transcription of the conversation, including the hesitation. See? I tried, and then there was a misunderstanding here. You see? But then I kept the focus. There's an answer. All right? And then how you keep working with your learners, it's up to you. If you try the same question in Gemini, because why not? Yeah, let's give it a try, the different possibilities. Let me just type here the question. It's thinking. There comes the answer, right? And as the answer is, let's say, over, then you come here, you have to highlight this point to your learners, okay? And you have to ask them to listen to the content. I don't know why exactly in this very moment it seems not available. Let me try. Yeah, look. Yeah, I've got here. Yeah, no, this is not what I want. What I need, you see, sometimes things go not exactly the way we plan, because it was supposed to have a possibility so I could listen. But let me give it a try on mobile. Yeah. One thing that I'd like to tell you that is very important to consider is that at times things may go slightly different from what we planned. I'm using Gemini on my mobile. Let's see if it goes here. Question. Thinking. This is over. And what I'm going to do is to click on the three little points. For the mobile version, I have here something written read, which is a small sound on symbol. And it may take a while, see? Like the other time.
That's a fascinating question. The future of English language learning is likely to be shaped by several converging trends. Increased personalization and AI. AI-powered language learning apps and platforms will become even more sophisticated, offering personalized learning paths based on individual needs and progress.
I'm going to stop here. The reply, the output is not the same. Interesting to consider. GenAI offers the possibility, if you pause it for a while, to continue from where it stopped.
AI tutors will.
And then it keeps going, right? It goes on from where it stopped. There are some interesting possibilities. Well, in all, whatever generative AI site or tool that you decide to use with your learners, it's important to understand that maybe we need to find ways around the difficulties, and it depends on the device you've got. But one thing I'd like to reinforce with all of you teachers is that students' agency is key. It is a partnership. It's not going to be like a perfect ride, neither it is supposed to. When students are agents, they learn how to learn. They learn how to find ways around the difficulties. Yeah, and I'd like to highlight those two words, to foster and agency. Well, UNESCO has a guidance on the use of generative AI, and I'll be sharing this with you in the chat. You can download, it is free. It's very solid evidence that I strongly recommend you use. I presented this usage when students are agents in using generative AI in the process of learning, speaking, saying again, and interacting. So I presented along with Evelina Golotsky in Digital Learning Week at UNESCO 2024. There is a link I'm sharing with you, and you can get to understand more about the experience here. Right now, it's a lot to take in, and I'd like to thank you for your attention, for staying with me here. You can find me online. There's LinkedIn, there is Instagram, which is Informed Teachers. But right now, somebody could please just type this in the chat. I'd appreciate it. But right now, it's a moment where I'd like to get to understand if you have questions or doubts. This is the moment.